Portland, Maine. Now that's a big yacht.
Hospital in the state. It's a Maine Medical Center. We'll be going by it a little later. And there's a Barbara Bush Children's Wing on that hospital, and it's Maine's largest employer. Here on the right, you see all these new buildings built. This is a new restaurant that opened, but all these buildings that were built during the pandemic or just prior to the pandemic. And the Rue Institute is at a Northeastern University. They're new in the area, but all the buildings on the right that you see is a company called WEX, W-E-X. They're an international company. They're in 5 countries. They're a fuel management company, manage fuel for big companies, and so it's a big outfit. But it's interesting. They built these buildings and moved in here, and then the pandemic hit. So this is the highest part as we come up. There's a few private ships over there to the right. I don't know if anybody owns those, but I mean, any of us own them, but I can tell you I don't. Okay, so Fort Allen Park. It's dedicated to the men and women who served in the armed services. Now you'll see the cannons. The cannons were from the USS Maine, the explosion in Havana Harbor in 1898. There are 9, excuse me, can you turn off the music? Trouble with that. On the right side, this is Portland Harbor. There are 9 islands in Portland Harbor. The largest being Peaks Island has a summer population of about 12,000 and about 8,000 through the winter. The others pretty much a summer cottages. Take a look at these houses around here. The money they've been putting into them in the past few years this is more or less a playground. Obviously school's in session, so you don't see a lot of people using it at this time, but through the summer months and on weekends it's very busy with. And on your left we're going to see some of the big houses. And these are okay, so this is the Loring Memorial. And that's other parts of Portland that you see way off in the distance on the thing. Housing, there's a shortage of housing up here like there probably is everywhere. And you see that house with the blue over here, that just opened. That's got 150 apartments in it, I believe. Right, that's all senior housing at this point. And but this is as you say, used to be kind of a shady area, and they fixed everything up, and it's a nice area to live in at this point. As we get to the second stop sign, one of Portland's fire stations is there. They have 10 fire stations, 9 fire stations, and one at the airport. So 10 fire stations. They do have tours there. In fact, there's a sign out front when the tours go. But that's a observatory. It's not a lighthouse, but it's a signal tower. That was built during the war. So you can walk up the stairs in there. There's not a problem is there's not an elevator, so it's quite a walk. So again, this is Congress Street. Congress Street is the longest street in the city of Portland, and it goes from one end of the city to the other. It seats 1,000 people, and they have masses there through the week. That was the highest spot in the city up until about 6 months ago. And now if you look at that building ahead of us with the brick and the white, that's now the highest in the city. They just built it, not even occupied yet. Here is a soup kitchen that's behind. As you can see, everybody's waiting for their soup. But soup kitchen is here. They feed every day. Give them a meal. Give them a meal at lunchtime. They serve about 200 people. And then they give them a box lunch for the evening. That's to your right, Merrill Auditorium, Portland City Hall. That modeled after the New York City Library. The Kochmar organ is in there. It's an organ with 7,000 pipes. That's where the Portland Symphony plays their concerts. Here on the right, where you see these green trees right here to the right, is the name of the church is First Parish Church, and that is, believe it or not, where the Constitution of the state of Maine was signed in 1819. Right here on the right, where the flag is, and that's the actual home of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. That is open today for tours by the looks. Now Portland's a foodie city. A lot of small restaurants, different types of food. You can get about any type of food you want, but it's small. They're small restaurants, and that's what they got. And there's also an art area. There's the Portland College of Art here on the left, and it's a lot of small restaurants. Now Congress Street was the busiest place up until the malls went in back 25 years ago. This was the place to be, and then this died when the malls went in. South Portland has the biggest mall. They got about 150 stores in the mall, and that took care of a lot of things on Congress Street. However, in the past 4 or 5 years, things have come back. And hotel, and but you'll see a lot of anytime there's any musical groups or anybody playing here, they'll always be there. Their buses and
Yeah.
So it appears the next concert is at one of these small places on September 13th. This is again the upper part of Congress Street. Has been kind of wild. They're building everything they can build up here. There's a house they built, small restaurants. But there's a new hotel they just built. It just opened here on the left called the Longfellow House, a little further up. And it's interesting, in one of these driveways, you can see new houses that they built down there. They're big homes. But this is the new hotel, Longfellow Hotel. Big homes, very expensive. I can tell you that there's, I know of one that's for sale for $2.85 million right now. That I think the next stop sign will take us down to where we'd like to go. Now it's co-ed. You can see it off to the left. It only costs $39,000 a year to send a child here. So it's a very astute school. You know, classes with 5, 6, 7 kids in them. So obviously they're getting practically tutored, you know, not big classrooms. They participate in all the sports in the state, and basketball and football and things like that. But it is a rather expensive school to go to. On the left is a yeah. Okay, we're going to be going across this bridge. This is South Portland Bridge, Casco Bay Bridge they call it. And this is in the process of paving this, so I don't know which half we'll get paved, but you're doing it at night, 7 at night to 6 in the morning. A large population of, large oil companies that they sell number 2 fuel, gasoline, things like that. You look off to the right, you can see all of them up there on the right. The oil companies there, they haul it out of South Portland to go all over the state. So the ships, obviously, they come up through the bridge, but your ship is to the left down there, and it was underneath. It went across, and it was 100 years old. This bridge here opened in 1995. They're just paving it, so guess they get a little work out of it. Now off to your right, you'll see a ship. It looks like a cruise. It is a cruise ship, a small one. They had a fire in that last year when it was parked where your ship is. And now we're gonna be going into the Bug Light, which is a lighthouse. I'll give you a little information about it. But it's the reason it's called Bug Light is because it's small. That's what the reason they use for that. Incidentally, if you went straight, that would take you into where those things where they made the Liberty ships, the marina. Now the memorial for the Liberty ships, and there's your ship right across the harbor. This is a historical museum down here. What I believe they want to do is stop.
Can't hear you.
That's our room because we're on the port side.
But it's interesting. I was in Vegas about 5 years ago and went to a restaurant. And the restaurant said, "We have a special tonight. We have 2 Maine lobster tails for $90. I gotta tell you, lobster right now, a pound, boat price is $5.99. So you buy it in the store, it's $9.99. But imagine 2 lobster tails for $90. And needless to say, I didn't order them, but so lobster's a big thing. Good present for me. The Bush family, of course, they did a lot for the state with when they lived in Kennebunkport in the summertime. Everybody loved them down there. They were active out in the community, and they still own the camp. Even though the father and mother are gone, the Bush one, the one that was president, the last one was president, he was 41. He has still has obviously poet from Maine. Stephen King is an author from Maine. But you heard of L.L. Bean?
Yeah.
Okay, LL Bean, Leon Bean was the person that started LL Bean, Fox and everything. DeMillo's, that's what it was. Someone asked me about DeMillo's. Okay, DeMillo's is up here just in front of this trolley that's up here. So it's within walking distance of the ship. That's the ship down there. It's a floating boat. It doesn't go out much, but at all. But there's a donut place on your left. Potato donuts. Yeah. And DeMillo's is right here. This is the parking lot for DeMillo's. There's a lot of places here that sell lobster rolls. It's the one in that truck. That's one of DeMillo's. But there's a lot of places that sell various things here at the lobster rolls and other fried foods and other fish, things like that that you might like. There's harbor fish up here on the right. Again, a lot of areas that have these things. Lobster rolls is a big thing. And this is a Riraj, an Irish restaurant. There's a fireboat for Portland. It's way down there. And we're getting back to it to ship now. But there's all kinds of places within a short walking distance for you to eat, to get a lunch. I know your people are on the ship, but I know that you also are going to be here a while.
The enclosed coaches or the caboose next to a glass window pane, it is very important that you keep your fingers, hands, and arms inside the train and not under the window. Whether you're a Portland expert or this is your first time here, our city has hundreds of years of fully settled during the American colonial period. Maine was granted statehood in 1820. Portland became the state's first capital. By 1827, the state legislature voted for it. Our train ride today takes us along Portland's East End Beach. This is the only public beach in the city of Portland. This sandy beach is a popular gathering spot for residents and visitors to the city, especially during the warm summer months. Swimmers, kayakers, pleasure boats, sailing vessels, and ferry boats all share the same water in the area near East End Beach. Governor Percival Baxter, the 53rd Governor of Maine and a courageous early leader in the fight against racism, donated the island to the state in order to establish a school for the deaf. The line was built cheaply, leading to many accidents, and the railroad missed many opportunities to create profit. The line opened and closed in less than 1 year. Despite the setback, Mansfield was convinced that the concept of the 2-foot narrow gauge railroad was successful, even if his first railroad company was not. Mansfield decided to apply the concept for a second time. As cars and trucks began to creep into rural Maine, the narrow gauge railroads began to lose out on competition. The cost of running the railroad became too much to bear, even as the 2-foot railroads tried scaling back or experimenting with new, cheaper styles of trains to run. As they went out of business, the Maine 2-footers scrapped almost all of the tracks and equipment that they had accumulated, selling off some locomotives and cars to other railroads or private individuals. At this time, a cranberry farmer in South Carver, Massachusetts was looking to construct a small railroad to serve his property. He
Back and forth, there's 3 of them going. So that was going. Yes.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready, ready. 1, 2, 3. Go.